What I can tell you from 30 years as an upper cervical chiropractor is that when patients have issues in the upper cervical spine, that can spill over and create issues quite commonly with headaches, migraines, and dizziness. Those all three fall in the top 5 things that people come to see me for and have for 30 years. People don't often associate vertigo or headaches with their neck. They think about their vision, they think about their ears, and rightfully so. Those are 2 important things to address and to look at. But there can often be a connection between the neck, how well your body's functioning because of the neck, and these 2 symptoms. So even if you've looked at an eye exam and you've had your ears looked at and you think you've done everything, you're missing a piece of the puzzle, which is looking at neck health and how the upper cervical spine is doing and how that plays a role into both vertigo as well as headaches. When patients come in with vertigo and with migraine headaches, people often want to know, well, which came first? It's kind of like the chicken or the egg, and it's really 50-50. Sometimes people have had headaches for years and years, and then the dizziness has an onset, and it can be the exact opposite. And that's not really the critical question here. The critical question is, what can we do to correct it from within? What can we do to help the body heal better from the inside out? Because that is, in essence, all that chiropractic really is. There is no adjustment for one symptom or another. Chiropractors go in and make precision adjustments to areas of the spine that need them, and the body then tends to thrive. So the upper cervical spine and these patterns and headaches often go together, and they have a lot to do with how your body's regulating. Bodies are supposed to function nice and even and dealing with things well, and then when they get stuck in a fight or flight pattern, now all of a sudden the body can't adapt and it's swinging wildly. And what we found, and we can see with paraspinal infrared thermography, is that when you do a really precision-based adjustment, the body then can regulate better. You'll see things calm down and quiet, and you'll see that in thermography immediately after an adjustment. So we've seen this pattern that when there's a problem with the upper cervical spine and you correct it, you can see the changes in thermography first, and then later with symptoms beginning to reduce and to reduce. What people often miss is that whether we've had a big trauma or a lot of little small ones, you know, those trip and fall when you were a kid, bang your head, crash your bike, car accidents, sporting injuries, repetitive injuries, all of those have the potential to change the mechanics of the upper cervical spine. And when that becomes altered, it can pour over and affect other parts of your body. So it's a critical area of the body that's often underlooked as far as its impact on the health and the body as a whole. So one of the things that patients always want to know, is this a normal pattern? Or I start to look, is there a pattern between my patients is when the pain has an onset, whether it be the time of day or things that they've done. And there are contributing factors involved in that. Things like how much time you spend staring at your phone scrolling can make some patients have an increase in symptoms. Lack of sleep can absolutely do that. Altered ergonomics, when you sit at a computer all day long and the screen's at the wrong place, like a laptop on your table where you look down at it all day long, all of that can increase symptoms. They're very rarely the cause of the problem, but they can be massive, massive things that add fuel to a fire that's already existing. So when patients come in, we don't just talk about chiropractic care. We talk about whole body wellness and whole body health. So we talk about things that they can do to optimize their progress and healing, but also when wellness kicks in, of how they maintain that and don't end up in the same position again. So that can be everything from sleep to the food that you eat that's your fuel, hydration, your phone, different ergonomic habits, your hobbies, and even the pillow that you sleep with in bed. One of the beauties of an upper cervical evaluation is seeing if there's something else that could be contributing. It's that missing piece of the puzzle. Many times health can have various pieces. You'll have a 2-piece puzzle, you could have a 10-piece puzzle. So you've got to look for all of them. So even in patients where they've been to the optometrist, they've been to the primary, they've done all the things, that does not include that upper cervical evaluation from an upper cervical chiropractor. In doing so, we're looking at another layer, another thing that could be a potential. So when we find that there's an issue with the upper cervical spine, it gives us a lot of comfort in knowing that this is something that we can address to give our patients the best shot. And so often you get very exceptional results. But if these results aren't coming fast enough or as big as I would like them to be, then we start looking for those other more subtle, smaller pieces of the puzzle, things that could be contributing that may have been missed previously, like sleep, hydration, diet, pillows, and such. But yes, it's a piece of the puzzle that is important to look at. And if you haven't seen an upper cervical chiropractor, there's still more for you to try to get the results you so seek. For patients with these combination of symptoms of the vertigo and the migraine headaches, care often starts off just slightly more contracted than it does for some other patients. We follow the same protocol, but often there's about 2 to 3 extra visits put into that plan to make sure that the body begins to respond quickly and then it begins to respond well. So often these patients will be seen a few times a week for a couple of weeks while we let their bodies adapt and to begin to heal. It gives us a great amount of data as to what kind of progress their body's doing, how well it's going to heal, and then we'll reduce their frequency of care. But all in all, a protocol for a patient with migraines and vertigo is similar to a patient with just about any other presenting problem. When I want to tell people stories about a patient who got great results with not just vertigo, but also with headaches, I think of one particular patient. You see, when she came to me, she was leaving for Europe in 2 days. So I was only going to get to adjust her one time after her initial visit. Typically, that's not something I would want to do. I would want to have a couple of weeks of seeing the data to know what kind of changes we're making before somebody jumps on a plane. But this was a really big, important trip to her. So I said, all right, let's do this. We gave her one adjustment and off she went to her grand European vacation. She came back about 3 weeks later. She got on the plane the next morning, not dizzy, and came home having had the best trip she could have imagined, not having the vertigo or the headache slow her down or interfere with the special time she'd set aside for her and her husband. It made me so grateful that I was willing to do that because I had questioned whether it was the right choice. But it was, because it was epic for her, and I'll never regret that decision. And that's why she always stands out, because it only took one.